Welcome to Middle Ground. On this side, we have people who are pro-Musk, and on this side, people who are anti-Musk.
I told you the dude in the glasses was going to be pro-Musk.
Elon Musk is a genius. Let's have the agreeers step forward. Welcome. Who'd like to go first?
Yeah.
So obvious.
Objectively, IQ. I think that's all I really need to say for my argument. I mean, whether you agree with what he's doing or not, objectively, his IQ would state that he is a genius. I think that's
What is his IQ?
right there.
Yeah, the prompt of him being a genius, to me, we know that there are mad geniuses, there are evil geniuses, there are just neutral people. But Elon Musk, we're talking about the ability to receive information, act on information, juggle the amount of balls that he juggles. You could argue he does.
It sounds like you're juggling his balls right now in your mouth, the way that you are glazing him up like a f***ing NPC. Wow.
Doesn't always do it perfectly. But this isn't about his virtue or his character. This is about whether or not he has a higher intellect than the average person. He's a genius. He's just not necessarily the best of people.
Yeah, I think when we're analyzing intelligence, it's important to consider what that actually means. So, can he analyze highly technical and highly theoretical questions? Yes, he has demonstrated that time and time again. When he interviews...
These people don't understand that he's just an investor. What do they think he is? I mean, what they're basically saying is that if you are able to play the stock market and accrue billions of dollars in your net worth, then that makes you a genius. Makes you a genius at capitalism. As we know, Elon Musk is not an inventor, he is an investor. I'll give him that he's a genius at playing this sociopathic game called capitalism.
He launches a litany of super highly technical questions at them, which he himself understands, and he's able to do that in many, many different industries. And he's able to innovate around regulation.
He's able to buy that kind of reputation. You're just repeating. He's able to buy that kind of PR, but that doesn't make him an engineer. It doesn't make him an inventor or an innovator. It just means that he's bought into other successful ideas and then subsequently masqueraded himself as if he was the creator of the idea and the company itself when he was not.
In processes that other people would otherwise feel constrained by. So I think in practice and in theory, he is a genius.
I mean, when you just look at the breadth, the amount of companies he's created, all successful, all in completely different areas, and the fact
He didn't create these companies. He didn't create PayPal. He didn't create Tesla. He didn't create Twitter. What companies did he create?
Maybe you could say Benjamin Franklin is ahead and Leonardo da Vinci is probably still up there. But I think he's in the top 5, and I felt he was going to be in the top 5 for a long time of most innovative, incredible people of all time. But, you know, when you put that genius in the free market, this is what you get. And you get someone that is affecting the world in so many different, I mean, I can't remember just studying, like, wait, he did this company, I can't even remember all the companies that he's created. And he's constantly doing more.
You haven't named one. You haven't named one company that he created. There's so many, you can't even name one?
Not scary, but we'll get into that later. Why people think he's scary. I mean, again, you're in the free market. We're not in the government.
There it is, right there. The free market fallacy. It's like he's showing up to an adult conversation. He's like, anyway, Santa's gonna bring me a new bike this year. I mean, as soon as you start talking about the free market, unironically, you deserve to be picked apart.
Free market, but anyway.
Got it. So you joined us after a little belatedly.
Yeah.
Say, what brought you over?
You had me at evil genius. That's where you got me. I think that he's an incredible marketer. He's done so much while doing so little. That there is intelligence to what he's doing. If you look at his history, for me,
intelligence in the service of sociopathy and self-enrichment. I mean, is that intelligent? You know, what do we define as intelligent? Every ideology, every idea is class-based. His intelligence lies in exploiting people. His intelligence lies in being a benefactor and a beneficiary of the system that prevails. It's called capitalism, and it's rooted in sociopathy. It's rooted in greed. It's rooted in exploitation of other people. And, you know, the guy would be nothing without the society in which he came from, which was an apartheid society that his family specifically moved to because there was such a wealth of opportunity for white people there because they were dispossessing the indigenous Africans. And he was born with literally a silver spoon in his mouth. His family were one of the wealthiest families in Pretoria, South Africa, where he was raised in apartheid era South Africa. And his father owned a private jet, was wealthy enough to own his own private jet. okay, if that tells you anything. And he sold that private jet to buy a deed for an emerald mine. Another exploitation, another way to accrue wealth via exploitation of labor and human life. So kudos to him, I guess. You know, he was able to take what he was given and then use that and create, even more, accrue more wealth for himself. He played the game of capitalism, but trying to, book him or label him as this contrarian person that's, lives outside the system, or some visionary that just came down from heaven. I don't know. It's just completely misleading. He's the poster child for neoliberal capitalism, if you ask me.
It's not striking of something I would want to emulate, but you can't deny that he's been remarkably successful in ways that a lot of, really nobody else has.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you mean by he's done so little?
Most of his accomplishments he didn't do. Most of the things we credit him for,
Oh no.
or
Yes,
he didn't do.
He's
He
absolutely
didn't,
right.
he didn't found PayPal. He sued to get his name on the letterhead.
That's not true.
He didn't found Tesla. He sued to get his name, or excuse me, you're right, actually. He didn't sue to get his name on the letterhead. It was part of his agreement. But he wasn't a founder in any of these places where he's been. However, he's figured out a way to get the general American public to think, oh my God, Elon Musk invented these things.
Let's go ahead and bring
He's absolutely correct. He's absolutely
over
correct.
the disagreeers.
So I'll start real quick. I heard somebody say above average intelligence, and something I'm not contending is that Elon might be a smarter guy. I don't know him personally.
Fair.
I've seen him speak on a lot of things, and he has a very high vocabulary, and he clearly knows a little bit about, obviously, the inner workings of his company. Now, where I'm seeing a lack of genius intellect, or intelligence, we might say, is when you torture a company who at the pinnacle of December was at the highest evaluation that it ever was, and now it's down 71%.
Mason is anti-Musk, whereas Jared is pro-Musk.
This is unprecedented when we're looking at especially auto manufacturers. So if you take the losses of Tesla since December in 4 months, that is more than the entire entity of Toyota, of BMW, of Ferrari, of F1.
Can I ask
That is insane, and that's not a genius move.
What big moment has happened since December, though? Yeah, I guess that's my thing. Is like we've seen a big thing that's happened since December
You're like, true, bro, yes, but like, he's God?
that could very much contribute to those drop in prices, i.e., him being very involved in the current president's administration.
Yeah,
I think, but I do agree. That's fair. I'm fair and analyze. I mean, you analyze that very well. True, it is unprecedented how big of a plummet. But I think that
Well, that would factor into his genius, right? The fact that he doesn't understand that the people that buy Teslas are not supporters of Trump, and then to understand that he's also like the face of this company, and he then gets involved in politics of which his consumer base does not care for and are going to be turned off by, and supporting Donald Trump and his tariff policy, which also I think it cost them 40%. I don't know, I forgot what statistic they just put up, but 40% of Tesla's stock was completely erased after Trump announced the tariffs. Wouldn't that also factor in?
like just saying it at that, and
It's
maybe
only the good stuff.
you were getting to that. Maybe I cut you off. I apologize if I did.
Yeah, so I'll speak to that. I think that saying that his involvement in politics is a little bit of an easy answer.
Fair.
Definitely that's ruined the reputation, especially with a majority of his consumer base. And when you are the head
You
of
could also say that there's an entire website devoted to his broken promises. All of the things that he's talked about has yet to happen. Literally everything. It's because he's a hype man. He's a hype man. That's it. He's a successful investor/hype man.
customers are is an important part of delivering what they want. So yeah, the top 10 blue estates were all Tesla fiends. They love Tesla.
Sure.
And now you've alienated them when you've said Democrats are Satanists that are helping the cabal. Like,
Yeah, I think in like 2012, he's like, we'll be on Mars in 10 years.
that is not something that's
But
helping.
maybe he's just
And that was just one of them. I mean, that was a big one.
a
But
genius at also tanking companies. Like he can build them up and
he said he would solve world hunger, and then he was presented with a plan by the UN to make that happen. And it would have cost him 2% of his net worth at the time, which was $6 billion. And he balked. He even asked for them to type up a plan. They did, and he still balked. But that's because, you can't trust the government. The government made him rich, but he also says you can't trust these institutions.
But
Nobody
but,
does it
But
like
going
that.
back into that, I
It's
don't
all
think
self-serving.
politics is the only answer for why his evaluations have plummeted. It's also lack of foresight. So talking about someone who's a genius or has this high level of intellect, when you're promising fully self-driving cars year after year for the past decade and haven't delivered on that, investors are starting to notice you might be full of shit. And that's something that is important when you are the head of a company, is that you
There
keep
you
over-promising and giving all this confidence. And don't worry, guys, we'll be in Mars in 4 years. I guarantee that. And then you don't deliver on any of those promises. Yeah, people are going to say that you're not the genius that you keep presenting yourself as.
One of the ways that you lay that out is you look at, I think it's $122 billion actually that he has lost right out of his pocket since he joined the Trump administration at the beginning of the new year. It's been a catastrophe for him financially.
When you have 400 billion, I mean,
and for
that's
his
not a huge
companies.
loss.
Like, and the guy's like, yeah, and my wrists are weak because I'm tired of giving him handies. But like, other than that, like, you just gotta, he's under a lot of stress right now, and you just like.
I will
So
say.
sure, but you can look at that. You can look at that as stupidity, a lack of genius. You could also look at it through the lens of incredible self-sacrifice for things that he actually cares about.
Yeah, he's dying on the hill. He's dying on the cross for us. You got to realize he's a free speech absolutist. You have to understand there's a lot of heavy is the head that wears the crown, and supple is the wrist that him off, and that would be my wrist because I love Elon Musk.
He's doing all this supposedly because he wants to be an interplanetary species, take the world to Mars, all that kind of stuff. What kind of person does this to their companies just for a political
He still has his on his glasses. You saw that?
project? I would say it's somebody who actually has a higher aim, and money and loss of it.
Aimed right for your. Come on, Trevor. Come on, Trevor. You're better than this, dude. What is this? This V-neck sweater you're wearing. Who do you think you're impressing? You think he's not gonna see this, buddy? He's not gonna see that. God, I hope he calls. You think maybe he'll hire you at Tesla? Is that what you're hoping for? Please, Elon, if you see this, give this man a job. He'll take all kinds of jobs from you, including hand or blow.
It's not really that important.
I just want to say, too, the stock is down about 40% from its high. It was 480. Every stock in the stock market is down 40, 50, 60.
Hey man, all the stocks are down, man. You know, you gotta realize, you know, it's just like the stocks, man. It's the stock market, man. It's like the shit goes up and the shit goes down, man. All right. Anyway,
60% right now from its high. It's
Oh,
just like
his
every
is
other stock.
particularly bad.
No,
Thank you for
it's not.
acknowledging that.
It's
Thank you for
not.
conceding that.
I've been in the
no, it's not. It's not. I've been in the stock market for some time, man. I did a stint in Wall Street, man. I'm trying to appropriate a Bob Dylan aesthetic as I glaze up corporate America.
stock market since I was 6 years old. They're all down 40% from their inauguration.
But I think
I just want to real quick make like a 10-second thing, and then y'all can talk. But like everything that you're speaking to,
No, he what is he saying? That every company lost 40% of its stock as a result of Trump's tariffs? That's not true. I think it's demonstrably false. Oh yeah, and RIM. I forgot about the RIM. That was another one.
is like great man theory of history. Is
The
that
great
history
man
is
theory. This guy's spitting. Absolutely. The great man theory of history. That's the capitalist indoctrination we have.
told by the few biographies of a few great men. Elon is this revolutionary innovator, and you specifically talked about it with Benjamin Franklin and Leonardo da Vinci.
Yep.
Like, sure, these people have contributed to the ethos of how history has played out, but all of these innovations in these companies are because of the workers, because of the engineers, and because of the scientists who have developed these innovations.
Thank
Elon is
you.
not writing the formulas that are going to get us to Mars.
Thank
Elon is
you.
pocketing the money that's going to make those people be able to function.
Well, well, I'm offended. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, no. And third of all, I stand with Israel.
Yeah, I mean, I just take
Pearl clutch, I will continue. I will just pearl clutch away.
issue with the word genius. Like, he's a risk taker. He has a very
No, he's not even a risk taker, Adam. The risk takers are in the working class, baby. Adam, the risk takers are the people that put their lives on the line for capitalism. The risk takers are all the poor who have nothing to sell but their labor power in order to survive. Somebody losing their seed funding for their next capitalist venture firm investment is not taking any risk. The only risk they take is becoming a part of the working class. God forbid they live in the precarity, the so-called precarious proletariat, living month to month, you know? No, he's not a risk taker.
grandiose sense of self-importance, which sometimes can amount to good things if you have a lot of capital to work with. Like with Tesla, sure, he helped them like vertically integrate their supply.
Ultimately, it just comes across as people griping or complaining, and I understand that that's, even though I disagree with it, because look, it's like the guy's got hundreds of billions of dollars. Like, I mean, 50 million people can't be wrong. Elvis must be good, Elon Musk must be awesome because he's got hundreds of billions of dollars, I don't think that the net worth of someone is a measure of their genius. Okay. If it were, then we wouldn't consider Einstein a genius. He lived on an academic wage all his lifetime, and he's a genius. Okay. He was a socialist too. So a genius. I feel like every concept, everything that you throw at me, I'm gonna throw back at you what its relation to class ideology is. Because what does it mean to be a genius? Well, you can't divorce that concept from the economy in which that concept comes from. And we have to figure in, when people say genius, they mean successful in capitalism.
Supply chains, and that was good for Tesla. So he's above average when it comes to like capital allocation, but part of being a genius should be knowing your limitations.
Yeah, why is genius never considered having, empathy? Things like altruism, upholding moral principles. Why is that not genius? Genius is tied with some of the worst forms of exploitation in a capitalist sick society, where you have sociopathy being the guiding principle for human interactions. Everyone is trying to get rich, and to get rich, we need to get over on someone else. It's completely sociopathic. And for the people that are most successful with the largest amount of fortunes in this society are the biggest sociopaths. We look upon the worst sociopaths in our society as the geniuses, as the innovators, as the trendsetters, the trailblazers.
This conversation right now, on the one hand, when we were talking about being a founder of a company, there is a definition and then there's a connotation. Yeah. You all were very happy
I agreed
with the
with him about the founder. No, I agree with the
But now
founder.
that we're talking about,
I agree with the
not
definition.
everyone did.
No cross-talk.
But now when we're talking about what it means to be a genius, and the definition of genius is also much more highly contested than the definition of what is a founder, whether your names are in the articles of incorporation, whether you were on the initial board of trustees, however large your company might have been, whether you had the initial idea. That's very separate than what it means to be a genius. Like, we can agree that maybe Elon Musk is very good at investing money. He's very good at finding engineers for his projects. We've seen that throughout all of his companies. There's no doubt about that he's smart, that he might have some intelligence. Although even throughout school, his grades were low, just like they were for a lot of other people. We would actually assign the title of genius to, infamously, Albert Einstein. But to say that he's somehow so far ahead of the curve, historical example, invention of the printing press. There were at least 3 or 4 or 5 people across Europe who were simultaneously working on it who had no idea that each other were doing it. Electric vehicles were in the Jetsons. It was not an initial original idea.
They were dead by the time
That's
Elon Musk
about
came
investing
around.
into
They
Tesla.
were
That
dad.
is not.
They were dad. D-A-D. They were dad. They were so dad. They were daddy. Where's daddy? Daddy. Dad.
Not about having the intellect and genius to design
he
an electric engine.
what was
He revived them.
going to be valuable in an electric car. People looked at electric
Did he
cars
design the
like
electric car?
they were golf
Did he
carts.
design the electric car?
He designed
That's
a
yes
lot
or
of the
no.
aspects of Tesla. He absolutely did.
A lot of the aspects of the electric seats to design some of the things that were tangentially associated with the designs of the electric cars.
He made it a luxury sports car.
The only patent that he holds for Tesla
That no one buys.
is the shape of the charging port. He owns no patents. He designed nothing but the charging port.
doesn't matter. We
and
have
every
well-documented-
year,
That
they have
does matter. That-
hold on real
Watch
quick.
out.
Every year they have the same argument. Hey, let's make a self-driving car to be a taxi with no steering wheel. And he wants that. And everybody's like, that's impractical.
Are they not launching in Austin right now?
Yeah, is this not the great summer of robo-taxis in Austin right now? Did he not just have an interview where he said he was going to have 10 to 15 robo-taxis in Austin fully operational this summer? I mean, come on.
He says it. He's been saying that for 10 years.
They're literally launching right now.
They said that 10 years ago. We don't know if they're actually going to come through. The point is, objectively, Elon Musk is great at making himself a lot of money.
Thank you. Some really good points from the anti-Musk troop, I have to say. I'm pleased with that.
The next prompt is, X, formerly Twitter, got worse under Musk. All right. These agreeers were so excited. Invite you over. You're already so excited to talk. Who's going to go first?
For me, the reason I came up is I think the reason it's worse now is it's now politicized as much as I want it to not be. It is a tool for, and even on my side as a conservative, I mean, it is a talking point for us as this is our freedom of speech here. I don't like that. It's not what social media is for. It's meant for us to connect and just get to know each other, learn more about each other. It's not meant to be this political tool. So I think where I do like who is running it now, and I...
What a dumb. Everything is political, even your beard.